Hey, what's going on, guys? It's going to be a review of WrestleMania 30. I wanted to watch this a couple times before I gave an official review because honestly, I thought I overrated WrestleMania 29. I just find it kind of tough to review WrestleManias right after the air. It's just the way it is with all the WrestleMania hype and the excitement. But let's get right down to it. WrestleMania 30, I thought it was a great show. The great thing about the show is it really left you with a great taste in your mouth. It was a dream come true for Bryan Danielson fans. I mean, who would have ever thought he would wrestle in the opener and then wrestle in the main event and win the belt the way he did? It was a pretty awesome moment. And on top of that, guys like Cesaro and Brock Lesnar, finally defeating the Undertaker's streak. It gave you a great sense of the company's moving in a different direction and in a good direction where they're pushing youth and they're pushing talent and talent that's really able to connect with the fans and work. So it just left you really excited about the future. The downside of it is I really thought that the show probably would have been somewhat of a nightmare if Daniel Bryan was not allowed to wrestle on the show. With Punk walking out and Batista winning the Rumble, it just things just had to be scrapped around, and I think they were in panic mode. So we didn't really get the dream card that I envisioned. I really thought they could have put together 5 really unique dream matches that people were excited to see. And, we just didn't get that type of show. It's been a long time since WWE was able to put on that type of WrestleMania card. So that's the disappointing part of it. But, overall, man, still a great show, but I wouldn't go as far as saying this is one of the best WrestleManias of all time. I'd probably say it's in the top 10, for my personal taste, but top 5, I think that's kind of pushing it. So that's just my thoughts about that. So let's get right down to the actual show from the Superdome in New Orleans, Louisiana. So the first match of the night, or the first segment of the night, we had Hulk Hogan, the guest host of WrestleMania, and thank God, I really thought they were going to overdo it with Hogan's involvement on the show. They didn't do that. He was less involved than The Rock was at WrestleMania 27, so thumbs up to that. And then we had the shocking return of Stone Cold Steve Austin, who said he would only show up to WrestleMania if they could find a good reason for it, and I guess they convinced him to show up, and it was definitely a good reason to show up because you have Hogan, Austin, and The Rock all in the ring at the same time. It's not the first time they were all in the ring together. I think before WrestleMania 18, they had NWO with Hall and Nash and Hogan taking on Rock and Austin in a handicap match. So it's not like the first time they were all out there at the same time, but it was pretty cool. I kind of disagree with True Slayer about how Bruno Sammartino would have made the segment even better if he joined in. I just think that there would have been somewhat of a disconnect with the younger generation. So I was fine with the way it was. It was a cool moment. Honestly, Austin was kind of in his podcast mode. He really wasn't the badass Austin character, very respectful to Hogan. Honestly, I thought The Rock really needed this. The Rock really gained some momentum, and it kind of got you excited to see The Rock return if he does come back, because I thought he stole the show. I thought he had the best. You could tell he really worked hard with, some of the things he did come out with, and he was definitely the most charismatic. So, definitely looking forward to The Rock. I think he needs to end his career on a better note. Hopefully we'll get Rock versus Lesnar, or, Rock versus Randy Orton or Batista down the road. I would be fine with seeing those as long as they don't main event, pay-per-views, but we'll see what happens there. So, just an overall, it was a good WrestleMania moment. I wouldn't say it was the greatest WrestleMania moment of all time, like Michael Cole said it was, but yeah, now let's get right down to business. First match, we have Daniel Bryan taking on Triple H. The winner goes to the main event of WrestleMania to make it a triple threat match and fight for the title. So we had, Daniel Bryan, Triple H. This is a dream match for a lot of people. First time we've ever seen Bryan and Triple H go at it one-on-one. And, I'm not going to compare it to Owen and Brett. WrestleMania 10 was, Owen Hart's really his first big pay-per-view match. So it's kind of tough to compare both of them. I still probably say Owen and Brett's, the greatest WrestleMania opener in WrestleMania history. But Bryan and Triple H, man, this was great. The great thing about this is the first time where a heel really got legit heat out of WrestleMania, in a long time. You probably have to go back to, as far back to Triple H at WrestleMania 2000 if you want to see a heel that got, really legit heat. So it's been a long time. The fans are definitely on Bryan's side. Triple H had a great entrance, though. I thought his entrance was friggin' awesome, and he did get a little bit of support from the fans, which was kind of surprising. I thought Stephanie at ringside, she definitely added that evil bitch element to the match, so it kind of stacked the odds against Bryan. But God, man, Triple H looked great. You could definitely slim down. You could tell he worked his ass off for this match, and he didn't want to go out there and prove, he could have a quote unquote, great worker wrestling type of match with, the Golden Boy, Daniel Bryan. So, and that's what he did, man. I thought he looked great. I thought some of the, the arm work on Bryan was amazing. The table bump when he took his arm and blasted it on the table, that was great work. Triple H busting out the dragon suplex. He resorted back to a lot of the technical stuff that you don't necessarily see Triple H do nowadays. So I thought that was really awesome. Bryan was his usual great self. He definitely had tunnel vision, definitely wrestled this match like his life was on the line. There was just so much at stake. The pedigree spot was awesome, because, you never know. After seeing what happened with Sheamus 2 years ago, you just never know. So it was definitely a believable near fall to see Bryan kick out of that. I'm trying to think what else. There was so much good stuff. The timing on that spine buster was pretty awesome from Triple H. Just a great match. I think it could have been better if they had gotten more time and if Bryan didn't have to conserve energy. So I will agree with a True Slayer about that. I know he mentioned that. I do kind of agree. Bryan, just one match at WrestleMania, balls to the wall. I mean, it could be something epic without even having to sell injuries and stuff like that. But yeah, I thought the finish was great. And yeah, man, definitely great opener. Definitely, from my personal taste, I'll give it 4.5. I still think it was the match of the night. Just definitely great stuff. All right, so from there, we go to the Shield versus Kane and the New Age Outlaws. This I don't really have much to say about this. Personally, I would have loved to see the Shield and the Wyatts save for WrestleMania. Instead, they had the match at the Elimination Chamber, which is kind of a waste. But I thought, if they had that type of match at WrestleMania, that would have put the show over the top. But this is a nice, friendly squash match, a nice babyface type of squash match for the Shield. It was exactly what it needed to be. Didn't drag at all. Just a lot of fun while it lasted. So, and then from there we go to the Andre the Giant Battle Royal. I'm not a big fan of Battle Royals. They just start off slow as shit. But once it got down to the main core guys like Ziggler, Cesaro, Big Show, Del Rio, who else was in there? I can't even remember. But once it got down to the last 5 or 6 guys, it was pretty awesome. And it wasn't anything too amazing. The only thing people are going to remember is the finish. They gave us a great moment with, Cesaro, Claudio Castagnoli, getting his big win. Hopefully this Battle Royal win really, sets the tone for his career, because he is super talented. It's a shame that Chris Hero is not involved in WrestleMania, and then, Cesaro is finally breaking out to his own, and it looks like Cesaro and Lesnar could be a big money match down the road. So just happy for Cesaro. Hopefully Hero, gets his act together and comes back to the WWE. But, Cesaro is just, the reason he is where he is now and Hero's not, it's just, comes down, I just think it comes down to conditioning. I think that probably had more to do with it. Hero's probably better on the mic, but Claudio, Cesaro is just, a freak of nature. He really, he could really possess that Brock Lesnar type of Ivan Drago type of, he just has that, superstar monster, aura to him. And I think that's what sets him apart. And just happy for all his success. He's just been amazing. The match with Cena, what he did in the Elimination Chamber this year, he might have been the MVP of the Elimination Chamber. So he's just on a roll right now. And I just hope this, him and Paul Heyman could just take him to that next level. So, thumbs up to Cesaro. Great WrestleMania moment, picking up the Big Show, walking halfway across the ring and throwing him out. That was just a great way to end the Andre the Giant Battle Royal. No doubt about it. So next up we have John Cena versus Bray Wyatt. And, I'm really warming up to Wyatt. It's taken me a long time. I'm not that high on him. Some of his promos kind of, I'm having a tough time really paying attention and getting into, his mic work. I really don't think he's the next Mick Foley. I think he's totally different than Foley. I know Foley is extremely high on Wyatt. I remember he was going, if you saw TLC, he was going crazy over him. after his match with Daniel Bryan, the handicap match. So Wyatt definitely has a different kind of look. I wouldn't say he's a great worker yet, but let's give credit where credit's due. He had a great match with Daniel Bryan at the Rumble, and a better than expected match with Cena. Now the match was good. It's not something I'm going to go back to and watch over and over again. It's like once is enough for me. There was a lot of corny things about the match. I thought Cena was kind of corny. He kind of resorted back to the ruthless aggression 2002 Cena, where he was going to just snap somebody's head off, and he's acting all angry and stuff like that. And he was tempted to cross over to the dark side. So the match kind of had that story going to it. But I thought I just think Wyatt has he's got a lot of charisma. He's got a lot of some of the things he just pulls off. It's just like, holy shit, this guy is just he's just scary. He just has that scary factor to him where you're just kind of he's very intimidating. Because he's so unorthodox. So. Definitely a roller coaster type of a match, but at the same time, I felt like if you put Cena in this spot with anybody, it wouldn't have been that hard to get the crowd into it. But just nice and fun back and forth match. I think the Wyatts at ringside definitely added to the match. Kind of gave Cena that, kind of made Cena kind of the underdog. The odds were stacked against him for the millionth time. But I thought it worked. I wouldn't say it was a great match or anything like that, but it was good. It was better than expected. Personally, for me, for as great as Wyatt could be, and I'm still warming up to him, I would have had Cena, wrestle someone, higher profile, someone that was a better worker, someone that was, more conditioned to put on, an excellent match. But, this was good. I understand, you gotta start building new stars. And, even though Bray Wyatt lost the match, he was the star in the feat. I don't think he needed to win. I think Cena does look good. He looks great right now. His in-ring, he's improved so much in the ring. And he definitely has a lot of juice left, even though he's just turned 37 years old. So I thought Cena going over was definitely the right choice. So from there we go to the Undertaker versus Brock Lesnar with the streak on the line. We'll see if the Undertaker can make it 22-0. And guys, when this match was announced, I was totally against it happening. I thought there would be no way that Taker puts over Lesnar. And the reason why, let's go back to 2004. When Lesnar quit, I remember hearing that Undertaker was very, very disappointed because, he had put him over in the Hell in a Cell match in 2002, and, he thought Lesnar was going to be the next guy. And for the company to devote all that time to Lesnar and to have Lesnar walk out like that, when they needed him the most I thought Taker would never ever put him over. And let's face it, you go back to that time, I really think Lesnar walking out definitely hurt the WWE. I really think it did. The WWE suffered, and whenever you put so much stock into somebody and then they leave, it's kind of like you have to start from scratch. And then that's what they did with JBL at that time. But listen, this match right here, having Lesnar go over, I thought it was genius. I thought it was the right move. I'm shocked that Taker did it, but if you think about it, I think the reason he did is because Taker's love for Ultimate Fighting, for combat sports. You go back to the UFC fight, you remember what Taker said. He said to Brock on Brock's way out of the match, he said, "You want to do it?" And Brock just stared at him, and no one knew what it meant at the time. But if you're looking back on it, yeah, I think he was talking about the streak. Do you want to do it? You want to end the streak? Because he wants to. It makes sense. It makes total sense. And I never really thought much about it. But if you have Daniel Bryan or CM Punk or Dolph Ziggler, anybody that's a young up and comer end the streak, it's gonna backfire on them, and it's gonna put too much pressure on them. And it's just too much of a risk. But with a guy like Lesnar, like so many people have said before, with Lesnar, it's a safe choice because as much, because here's the thing about Lesnar. He's just so accomplished, number one. But number two, he doesn't give a fuck. He doesn't give a fuck about, getting, WWE fans to like him. He doesn't care anymore. It doesn't even matter at this point. NCAA champion, UFC champion, he's done it all. Everyone knows he doesn't like to travel, doesn't like being in the, being a WWE superstar and having to obey by the rules. He just wants to come, show up, get paid, do what he wants to do, and just leave. So a guy like that doesn't have to, suck up to the fans and get the adulation of the fans that, a guy like Daniel Bryan needs right now. So it's the perfect choice, and, there's still a lot of money you could draw with Lesnar. It's not like Lesnar's old. He's only 36. And remember, a guy like Flair didn't hit his prime until 39. So Lesnar has definitely at least 5 good years left. So that's that. I was really shocked that Lesnar did go over. It was the pinfall and the aftermath definitely made the moment, made the match. The match was very disappointing to me. All the people that were complaining that, and I thought this too. If you put Lesnar in the ring with Brock at this point is very risky, because Lesnar's way too physical, and Taker ended up getting a concussion, and I definitely thought that hurt the match. I mean, if you look at Taker's match against Punk last year, Taker was, he looked like he could wrestle until WrestleMania 50. He looked so pumped up and juiced and inspired after that match. But this one, he just, very lethargic. Definitely, you could just tell something happened. Lesnar, and I'm disappointed in Lesnar too with the actual match. For as much money as they're paying him, and for as much, hype this match had, I expected a little bit more creativity from Brock Lesnar. And the match was just very slow, very sluggish. Watching it live, it was tough because I was really into it. I was really into every single moment, even though the crowd was dead. But if you watch it a couple more times, they just didn't click. This was, Taker and Brock have had some really great matches. Their 2002 stuff was great. Their 2003 stuff was not so good. This fell into more of the 2003 category. And as far as the actual work in the match, this is the worst match they've had from what I've seen. Just no chemistry and just a lot of, very, very slow and very sluggish. As far as the good part, some of the good stuff in the match, I really thought the old school spot into the F5 was pretty awesome. The tombstone spot was, looked kind of shaky, but, it was a good near fall. I don't know, man. It wasn't bad. I thought they kind of overdid it with some of the near falls, and once again, just not a lot of spark to what was going on in the ring. But the finish was great, though. I really enjoyed the finish. After hitting the third F5, I was just like, that's got to be it. I mean, how are you going to kick out of 3 F5s? And the look on that chubby black kid's face with the glasses on in the front row, that was priceless. I mean, everyone's reaction throughout the whole thing with Taker losing was just crazy. But Brock Lesnar is money, man, and Jericho was right. Lesnar was losing momentum. If Lesnar had lost, this would have been the second WrestleMania in a row where he had lost. People were saying, Lesnar was losing momentum, but, the match with Punk at SummerSlam was amazing. So how do you lose momentum after that? It's just too much of a gap, I think. I just think it takes too much time off. So it's so tough for Lesnar to gain steam after taking all that time off with his schedule and all that stuff. But, overall, guys, it wasn't a bad match. I just thought, for as much hype as it had and for Taker to lose his streak this way, it should have been a much better match, just executed a lot better. But that just wasn't the case. It just came off kind of the finish didn't come off flat, but the actual match, you just would have expected more of a roller coaster type of match. This was definitely the Undertaker's worst match at WrestleMania since WrestleMania 22, and I agree. Taker's had the best match at WrestleMania since WrestleMania 20, from WrestleMania 23 to WrestleMania 29. I would say that Taker's had the best match in each and every one of those WrestleManias without a doubt. But the disappointing thing for me, I'm glad Brock won the match because I'm a big fan of Brock and I thought he needed to win. And but I really thought Taker and Cena was something that WWE was holding off for a while. And I know Jim Ross and Stone Cold Steve Austin even pissed the idea of doing Taker and Cena at Jerry World, Dallas Cowboys Stadium, filling that, possibly even topping Andre Hogan from WrestleMania 3 in terms of attendance. So, I thought Taker and Cena with the streak on the line was something that was inevitable that needed to be done, and it just never materialized. So that's disappointing, but overall I'm still glad Lesnar, beat the streak. I think, but with this comes more responsibility, though. You know, I'm not saying that Lesnar has to wrestle full time, but when he does come back, you know, that much more is expected of him. He's going to have to raise his game, better matches. You know, there needs to be more. And I was disappointed with the creativity, you know, the buildup of this match. You know, I thought Taker and Brock had so much history. You know, you could have definitely, put some of the 2002 stuff from their feud and implemented it into the match. They didn't touch on anything. So I was upset at the lack of creativity with the build-up, but at the same time, maybe they didn't want to get too technical and too, overdo it too much and get too soap opera-ish. So, maybe they just wanted to do Taker, Brock, streak on the line. Let's keep it simple. And, it just didn't really work for me, that part of it, but, the match was kind of flat, but overall, great finish, shocking moment. I think they made the right decision. But like I said, guys, Brock Lesnar, there's more expected of him. He needs to raise his game. For him to take this win and then go back to UFC, in a year from now will be wrong. I'd like to, with this win, I think Lesnar needs to stick around for at least 3 years. I would say at least 3 years. They need to feed him a much better variety of opponents. Lesnar's had great matches with Cena and Punk since he came back, but the matches against the established guys, Triple H and Taker, have been significantly worse. So he needs to be in the ring with guys that can move and, guys that aren't past their prime. I think that's who Lesnar works the best with. So that's pretty much it, guys, before the main event. I don't have much to add about the AJ Lee, Divas, the Vickie Guerrero Invitational Divas match. It was what it was. Nothing I could really add to it. Now the triple threat match, we have Randy Orton, Batista, and Daniel Bryan. Great match. It really felt to me like this was Evolution with Stephanie McMahon versus Daniel Bryan in a handicap match. So this was just like, wow, who would have ever imagined Bryan Danielson going, facing all of Evolution in the main event of WrestleMania? Like, it was kind of like, it's one of those things that you could dream about, years ago, but now that it's a reality, it's just like, this is what it is. But, great stuff. I thought Randy Orton looked good here. He really redeemed himself from the last time he main evented WrestleMania. I'll give Batista credit for the actual match. He looked pretty good for someone that's been out for 4 years. But at the same time, I would have liked to see a more clear defined main event. I think maybe Cena and Daniel Bryan one-on-one would have been a better answer. But as far as, stacking the odds against Bryan and the whole feud with the Authority, it kind of made sense, to have that Evolution theme against Bryan in the main event. And this is how you do it. And this is how this is how it went down. And it was crazy, man. It was very similar to the WrestleMania 20 match with Benoit, how they took out, Benoit on the announce table. And it just sucks that Bryan has to get neck surgery. I'm not sure if it was from the Kane tombstones, but that Batista bomb RKO into the table spot, that was crazy. And I thought Bryan was done. I legitimately, bought the fact that he might have been, escorted out of the match, because I thought that was a nasty bump. I mean, even if you see it, I think Batista rushed the powerbomb a little bit too soon before Orton had a chance to, grab Bryan by the neck and drag him down for the RKO. So that just did not look good. And Orton took a vicious bump as well, cutting his back open. So that was crazy. But yeah, just a lot of, the Triple H and Stephanie getting involved. I thought that added a lot of extra dimension to the match, stacking the odds against Bryan. Just a lot of great, kickouts, Batista kicking out of the RKO, Bryan, doing his running knee to ensure he won't get the pinfall. Just a lot of creative things, a lot of drama. Not really a great technical match. Not really a great, quote unquote, Daniel Bryan, one-on-one technical wrestling match. This is more of him just, me against. This is more of a Daniel Bryan, me against the world type of, mentality here. Personally, I know a lot of people were comparing the victory to Benoit's victory at WrestleMania 20. Personally, the Benoit victory still means a lot more to me, just because of the way Benoit did it. He really didn't have to be, entrenched in a, soap opera type of storyline to do it. He kind of just did it with his wrestling ability. So I respect that about it. But, who would have ever thought Daniel Bryan would have won the belt this soon and be in this position this soon? So no matter how you do it, he got it done, and I'm proud of everything about this guy. This guy's, this guy could do anything because he could do anything. He could, become as big as he wants, and I'll never be jealous of him, or I'll never, hold anything against him. He can marry the hottest girl in the world, or he could, have as many endorsements as he wants because he's paid his dues, man. I've seen this guy, wrestle. Getting his eye busted, getting a detached retina in the ring, wrestling with a dislocated shoulder, and wrestling all over the world. This guy has paid his dues. So all the success he gets, I hope he becomes the man, and I hope he has the greatest title reign in the history of the business. So I just wish him all the best. But at the same time, I've been very disappointed with the way the WWE's kind of approached the way they've been booking him as of late, and it's been kind of a nightmare for him personally. His dad passed away, has to get neck surgery. So who knows what could happen? The great thing about the new advanced neck surgery is, it's not like Benoit or Austin where they're going to miss a whole year and have a metal plate in their neck. If you remember SummerSlam 2008, Cena was Batista bombed, had to get neck surgery. Then he was back by Survivor Series. So it's not as much of as a layoff, and it's not as much of there's not as much recovery time with this neck surgery. So hopefully this is just a little bump on the road, and he comes back, better than ever. But yeah, man, it's a tough blow. And for him to, if Kane was the one that fucked up and tombstoned him too hard, that just sucks. But really nothing more I could say about the show. Overall, great show. Happy for Daniel Bryan. Happy for Cesaro. I'm happy that they're going to push Lesnar in the future. But like I said, guys, more is expected of Brock Lesnar. He needs to step up his game. For Taker to pick him to end the streak, a lot is expected of Brock. So we'll see if he can handle the pressure and not walk away like a baby this time. So we'll see what happens, guys. Hope you enjoyed the review and the thoughts, and I'll see you later.